Yeah, we're gonna do a quick message. Okay, well, I should be able to squeeze that message in. 12%. Yeah, we can make this clap. All right. Much love, many blessings. So I can just drop the intuitive message, and then just recap it, because we'll see how this goes. Most likely, if the message isn't put out, or if there's still more, I'll definitely drop part 2 or continue message later on today. But I feel that it is at least important to get out some of the things that Spirit wants to channel for the collective. Because, we've been dealing with these moon cycles for a while. But sometimes just with the awakenings that's just taking place, we may not know. We spend a lot of time as a collective acting like we know how to do things because we don't want to ask for help, or we don't want to come off as stupid. So there's things and rituals and stuff that we have available to us, or things that you see trending: witchcraft, spirituality, spiritual awakenings, and affirmation. Moon rituals, hearing of these things and passing. But sometimes we're not actually delving into them more, or we're curious, our spirits are curious about something, because we'll be experiencing something in our waking life that we're not accustomed to, or we don't have a lot of experience with, but we'll feel the influences of what's going on in our daily life. But what we need, we may have to defer to somebody else for that aid. And I'm bringing this up because a lot of the Aquarius energy that we're flowing from, this blue moon, this blue full moon, has us trying to make room for those things that we want to receive. And Aquarius is a very funny sign because Aquarius is air, so that air is always dealing with change, but it's a fixed air sign, so something's changing and something's not. So essentially, like when we deal with Aquarius, we deal with the alien. So Aquarius loves to deal with the collective or being in groups. So like when the moon is in Aquarius, or the moon is in Aquarius, we want to be social, we want to be in groups. But the ironic thing is we want to be in groups, but we don't necessarily want to conform. We want to be in groups and be able to showcase how it is that we feel, or to put out how it is that we feel. So a lot of this full moon, this blue moon that we're experiencing during this time, actually has a lot to do with how are we staying fixed with our perceptions, the things that we want to embody. How are we standing in that energy, but also integrating with other people? So there's a part of you that has to healthily stay the same or stay constant, such as your integrity. Your integrity or your heart or your soul wants to stay the same. It shouldn't change because you're around your best friend, and then when you get around, your mom or your sister or your cousin or this other friend, you're a different person. So we want to integrate, we want to be a part of things, but we don't. We also want to have a space to hold it constant, so we don't have to feel like we're constantly changing. And that's one of the things that Aquarius is good at, because not conforming is that definition of finding a way for your uniqueness to be integrated into the world. So a lot of this blue moon that we're experiencing in this time has a lot to do with our connection. And there's people that we would like things to be better with. We would like maybe a relationship, something that we didn't reconcile. We may have said something about a person, we might have put out a perception about somebody. We might have said something to make ourselves look better, or just because that's what we thought was the narrative at that time, we continue to paint that narrative. We may still be painting that narrative during this time, and we're realizing out of guilt and shame that these people, these situations, and these perspectives aren't actually this way. And now we're like, damn, I would really like to be connected with this person, or I really wish I see that this person's like this now, and I really want to be a part of what they got going on. But because we're holding these hang-ups, because we're holding these situations, we're not making room to allow that space to come in. We're not making room for those changes to take place. So a lot of us are feeling like we're looking at situations that are coming back into our awareness, and like, man, I can't change that. That shit's been like 3-4 years strong in the making, and I've already concreted that and solidified that for what it is. So during this time, especially this blue moon energy thing, that once in a blue moon, the opportunity for something that seems so far reached, is time to make room for that. Not so much because we're believing in miracles per se, but because we're realizing that we've held a narrative or a perception for so long that we're thinking that this is the reality, when it's just a perception that's held because we're not doing anything different. So another call is for us to actually put energy into letting go of a situation or an outcome, letting go of our guilt. We may have said some things that we shouldn't have said about somebody or a situation, or believed some things that we shouldn't have believed, because it was better for us at that time, or we wanted to support We wanted to support what we thought was the winning team. And now that the tables have turned, a lot of the shit we realized pre-2020, pre-COVID doesn't fucking matter. Like, why are we concerned about things that have been washed away in a nuclear fallout? Like, that old world don't exist, so why are you still holding on to judgments, perceptions, and critiques, labels that this world does not care about? You're holding on to an energy body, an image body that serves no purpose. You're spending so much time being caught up on what you did or didn't do, or what you thought you should have did, or the perception that you've been painting and the negative energy you've been seeding into the pot, that you don't even realize that you can actually create a new situation. With the Aquarius energy, when we deal with Aquarius, they're an air sign that comes off as a water sign, and that's because of how their energy comes into the picture. It's almost like you bring the winds of change, but it's so different from anybody's normal anchor point that they may not be able to find a place for it. So we're trying to find a place for this energy. You have things coming into your awareness with this blue moon portal opening up from Aquarius. It's coming from the future down there. It feels so Uranus vibes. It feels so eccentric or just out of the norm that you're like, that thing that you're considering that seems so off the wall might actually be kind of like Occam's razor. We might actually need to simplify an overly complex situation. Sometimes complex questions have simple answers. Sometimes complex situations have simple solutions. Sometimes you're just holding in your mind all this energy when you could actually just do something different. Maybe you did do that thing back then, but maybe it's not the same now. You know, time is the only thing that shows truth and reveals and heals wounds. What is it that you're wanting or desiring during this time that you could be mending? Who could you be talking to? Who are you holding an energy towards that if you were to die today, you know, that you would just be like, why don't I just fucking apologize? Like, what is it that you're holding on that you think really matters that actually doesn't matter? Like, there's a huge change taking place, and change doesn't always have to be death. It could be death of the old life that you have, but sometimes Spirit wants you to realize that you're changing in such a way that you have to apologize for these people, or at least be willing to surrender that energy, because if you move into a whole new bracket, if you move into a whole new lifestyle, you go start traveling, expanding, you get promoted, your life gets promoted, not just work gets promoted, your lifestyle gets a promotion, you're not going to have the same access to the same people anymore, and you want to take off and leave these things behind. You want to travel light. You're not trying to travel with weight. So why not drop those things off? Yes, we should be thinking with the mindset of like, if you were to die today, but there's another side to that, because on the other end, there's an extreme change. Death can be an extreme change, but a promotion can be an extreme change, especially if that promotion is a continual blessing, a blessing that is in such a way that the momentum keeps you moving. And the blessings that keep you moving that are continual are not going to have you have time for stagnation or sitting in self-doubt or hanging around people who feel that they're entitled to sit in their stagnation, and if you have abundance, that you have to share with them. So this is another reason why you're letting these things off, because it's a mirror. It's a mirror on the people that you need to release those things with, as well as you feeling like you want to be light in order to be able to enjoy the things that are transpiring during this time. So there's people that are coming back into the awareness, especially with this Aquarius blue moon that you've probably been experiencing late in the week. Especially, don't be surprised even with today and Sunday, but just late in this week, there was a lot of mental weight and just processing, because there was a lot of, it's almost like feeling like a retrograde, because there's people coming back up. There's like, damn, I ain't talked to you in a minute. Or we're thinking about people who we may not necessarily have ghosted per se, but they are people that we're like, okay, I thought this connection should be like this. Maybe I could do things differently. Maybe I could do things differently. So let's definitely tap into this, because, I'm definitely getting a little long-winded, and I want to be able to have room for this message that's coming up. So with the moon messages coming up with this Aquarius blue moon, we have the void of course. And the void of course, obviously, is always speaking to the energy, wasted energy. So this means that this energy is in a particular state, because the void of course deals with not having the ability to, there's no connection. The moon is in a transition phase where it's not connected to any planet. So that means that you have energy that's not associated with anything, that's being tied up. You're thinking on it, but even if you were to use it, nothing is happening with the energy. So this means that we're thinking on fantasies, wishful thinking about connections and things that we want to be a part of, people we want to be a part of. And because of that, it's just a lot of energy just built up. This is kind of being shouldered. And we're moving into the Virgo season, so it's not surprising that the new moon Virgo, that this is confirmation that maybe we can actually have the outcome that we want if we just feel that we deserve it. So Virgo is funny because Virgos have an issue with detachment. It's not so much with attachment, but with detaching that becomes their issue. So a time to give rather than to take. So just seeing this energy is sometimes just being in the head and in the ego. The ego is a taking space, so giving comes from the heart. Because when we're waiting on what it is that we're supposed to receive, sometimes step out of your comfort zone. Aquarius is all about stepping out of the comfort zone. So we're really trying to step into an energy, and especially honoring our north nodes. It can feel like a polarity against, north and south nodes. Can be honoring of looking into the polarities of things that we are not actually facing. When we deal with polarities, sometimes we don't like to acknowledge the things that aren't so pretty about ourselves. So definitely dealing with our north node and how we're moving and creating that tangibility. It may even be a need to look at some of the karmic energies in your energy makeup, especially when we're dealing with the north node. So with this Aquarius energy, especially with the sacred messages that we have coming up during this time, it's time to nourish your temple. So your spirit has really been wanting you to address some things that have been going on. And sometimes you don't want to necessarily address things that feel uncomfortable. You don't necessarily want to step into things that feel uncomfortable, Virgo, especially if you get in your head. New moon Virgo, we might need to release some things and just do it because it's necessary to do it. So nourishing the temple, whether it's with the nourishing the physical body, you may have not been eating right lately, or you may have just been worrying about things that are coming up, some big projects and things that are transpiring. And when you spend time focusing on them, you put all this mental energy in rather than actually doing something about it or seeing what the situation is. So this is a call to clear your energy and look to the stars and realize that you're not just an earthly body, and to find those unique gifts within yourself. Maybe you're not also looking beyond your limited means, and you need to expand and look into things that require more divinity, or things that are just broader than yourself. Taking that pause to show appreciation. We're definitely going to delve into this more, because Aquarius always brings a lot of seeds that have to be put together. Aquarius tries to make things make sense, but it sometimes just brings the device before the collective or civilization is ready for it. Sometimes when they present the Rubicon, civilization might not be ready for something that advanced, but it was still created, and we still have to try. You still have to try. Even if this device, this tool is beyond your means, if your alignment is right, nourish the body, you still have to try. You still have to attempt, because you can't count yourself out simply because this is so beyond you. So Spirit is presenting you with the tools or the devices or just the know-how necessary to fill the gap. So there's a filling of the gap. Maybe you just need to make that call to that person that you feel so guilty about, and just make that call because you're overthinking all the pieces, overthinking like, oh no, this isn't going to work. And you're telling yourself all the reasons why this isn't going to work. 6 of Cups. All the reasons why this isn't going to work because the relationship feels foreign. You feel like you have nothing to offer to the situation. So you feel like there's a wall between the two of you, and you have to find the beauty in the matter. But the reversal is definitely showing that there's a lack of patience. That's why we see the 7 of Pentacles. There's a lack of patience, or an unwillingness to make the sacrifice. You feel like that it should already have happened now, or it's waited so long that who's willing to put this kind of work in? When we see 7 of Pentacles, this is going to take some more effort on your part. But when you're seeing what you want now and realizing that you still have to wait years for it to grow, or realize that there's still more that you have to put in, it can discourage you when you see the steps in front of you. It can make you feel like Queen of Pentacles, that you didn't put the effort in, and that the reason that this isn't happening is because of you. It's not because of anybody else. You might have told yourself that it's because of other people, but it's actually because of you and something that you could be doing. Maybe it's because you actually haven't put the energy in or made the sacrifice or the investment because you want it now. The problem with dealing with the microwave society is we might want this bomb-ass fucking meal, but you can't get soul food out the microwave. But sometimes you don't want to go through the hours of prep to prep the food, so you want it now. There's things that you want right now, but you're going to get that microwave result. What do you get with microwave results? You get that inauthentic, quick flavor and taste, but it doesn't have any of the essence or substance. You probably got to make something snack after, because it's not going to hold no weight. It's not going to have no umph. It's not going to give you no itis. So there's a disconnect. There's a wanting to be a part of something, 4 of Wands, but you know that you haven't put the energy in, or that at least if you're going to connect, that you feel like you betrayed the relationship or the union, and that you're cheating within this connection and it's a dynamic. So there's some things that you have to face within yourself, or at least transmit within yourself. And a lot of this Aquarius full moon, this particular full moon, it's interesting because this doesn't necessarily feel like a full moon that's bringing a lot of, the word I'm looking for is tangibility as far as the harvest is coming, though there is a lot to be gained and a lot of financial rewards to be gained during this time. But I say this to say that this particular full moon has a lot to do, it feels more almost like a new moon because it has a lot to do with releasing, because you're making room for the things that you want to receive. Understand that when we're receiving something that is a once in a lifetime or blue moon chance, you have to get the space really, really, really cleared out. It's the equivalent of when you want to have construction workers come to your house and they might want to run caulk and just like re-enamel some shit. You gotta clean up everything and clear all the space out. Not just that simple Sunday morning cleaning that you might do, but like the real cleaning, like get in the cracks and corners, clear out all the cupboards, because spirit is coming in to do a serious work in your house. You might not even be able to be there for a few days because they gotta air the shit out. There's too many fumes and things going on. So this what's taking place during this time is talking about nourishing the body and making this cleanse, because we're trying to make room for something really, really, really big. So this cleanse is taking place. While it might not seem like you're receiving anything, it's a whole makeover of your house. And like sometimes when you get your house made over, you might not feel like you received anything, but getting your house renewed and just everything upgraded increases the value of the house. So there is something you're receiving. You might not be getting something tangible, but you're increasing the value of your house, the value of your temple. That's what's taking place during this blue moon during the time. Remember, so within, so without. So if we do a whole revamp on the value of your temple, imagine what's transpiring during this time, the relationships, the quality of the things that you thought or wished that you had back then. It can actually happen now. Though it might require on your part to do some cleaning, require for spirit to come in and mend these relationships, mend these things that you fucked up, and mend these things and make them correct in your space. Wait, what am I supposed to be? Oh, no. Let's see. Yeah, I do want to see this one for a second.